The NBA season starts in a couple days, and it's looking a lot different. The Bucks got Damian Lillard, Giannis, Middleton, Lopez, Portis, and now the Celtics just trade for Jrue Holiday. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how I feel about this Celtics trade and how I'm feeling about the East in general, because there's a lot going on, and I feel like this is very good for the Eastern Conference because in the past they were almost irrelevant. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's get into it. If you look at the Celtics starting lineup on paper, it looks crazy. Derek White, Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. But then the natural thought is to think about the bench. This natural thought comes because, of course, this starting lineup is so overpowered, and the sports fan's mind does not want to believe that there's going to be another super team in the league like there was a couple years ago with the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant. So our sports minds automatically try to find something negative to disprove that fear that we have in our head. Looking at the Celtics bench, it doesn't look the best, but it's also not the worst. I think it's easy to just look at big trades and look at big names and to automatically just assume that things are not fair and that the team is just automatically going to be good. But there have been hundreds of cases in sports where super teams don't work out exactly how they were imagined. It's hard to remember that athletes, especially famous athletes and popular athletes, are still human. And Russell Westbrook said something recently during media day today that's facts. The media tried to do their job, of course, which is try to get a reaction out of the players. And for Russell Westbrook, the reaction obviously they were trying to get out of him for a headline was about championships, winning, and, you know, having fun. The whole thing that blew up when he was with the Lakers. So somebody asked him about winning a championship, and Russell Westbrook pretty much responded and said that winning a championship is not everything. Sometimes it's about playing with your teammates, learning them, and becoming brothers. And I think that is very important, ironically, if you want to win a championship. There are few teams that are going to be successful if they don't like each other. Now, automatically you could think of Kobe and Shaq, but they had the same thing in mind. They had a lot of problems egotistically, but they were both connected on the court, and that's not always going to happen. So with these super teams being formed and new identities for teams, I think it's very important to look into the fit for each team. For example, the Damian Lillard trade to the Bucks. It seems scary. And of course, when it seems scary, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be jealous and envious of it, fearful of it, and they're going to try to hate it and dismantle it from the throne. Same thing happened with Porzingis going to the Celtics. But I think there are very valid points with some of these arguments. For example, Jrue Holiday obviously is a very good player. In the past, he was known as being the most underrated player in the league. And over the past couple years with the success of the Milwaukee Bucks, I think people have finally become aware of the talent he possesses, not only offensively, but especially defensively. And not even just his skills on the court, just his philosophy when it comes to the game. Jrue Holiday is a player that's not really going to make any headlines for calling out any teammates. He's not the most expressive guy. He's kind of a quiet guy who plays basketball. So I think losing this type of guy on your team can hurt. And I think he's very valuable to certain teams. Now, are the Celtics a team that he is valuable to? I don't know. Watching the Celtics the last couple years, I realized from one thing, from my eyes, my point of view, is that the Celtics play a lot of ISO ball. And maybe the Bucks did too with Giannis, but I think it's completely different. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown kind of take turns at sometimes just attacking the defense one-on-one. And my question is, how is Jrue Holiday going to fit into that? Are the Celtics a defensive-minded team? Because that is what Jrue Holiday brings. I think some people, fans included, may believe that if you add a defensive player to a team, the defense of that team will automatically get better. But I don't know if that's entirely true. Sometimes I think an entire team has to buy into the new identity of defense. And I don't know if the Celtics are that team to do that. I think that's going to be the biggest test for the Celtics this year, because I don't think Jrue Holiday is the type of player that's going to come in and going to have any trouble meshing with the other players on the team or his teammates, because he's just not that type of player. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Jrue Holiday does not have an ego like that. But I think the biggest test for the Celtics this year is going to be whether or not they want to adapt and change their new identity of their team. Of course, they had Robert Williams and Marcus Smart in the past, so they were known for that gritty team. And maybe Drew Holiday is the perfect replacement for Marcus Smart. But Drew Holiday and Marcus Smart have two different personalities. So is Drew Holiday going to impact the team's identity the same as Marcus Smart did? Kristaps Porzingis is an amazing player, but him and Robert Williams also have two different personalities and philosophies when it comes to the game. I think the Celtics got a lot better offensively. And yes, they got Drew Holiday, probably one of the greatest defending guards in the league, to replace one of the other greatest defending guards in the league in Marcus Smart. But I don't think the defense of the Celtics is going to be as elite as it was last season. That being said, I still think Derek White is an incredible defender, and they still have guys in that team that are defensive minded. But I think that's going to be the test for the Celtics this year, because they're not going to have that type of leader that they had in Marcus Smart last season. Drew Holiday is not going to be that type of vocal leader, so I think Jason Tatum is going to really have to step up, and maybe that can cause problems with Jaylen Brown, because we saw last year there was a little bit of drama with Jaylen Brown and the Celtics. So that's something to keep an eye on. We're going to have to see who is going to step up and be the new vocal leader of the team, because Marcus Smart was kind of that last season. Obviously now it's going to be between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and we're going to see if there's going to be egos clashing between those two. As for the Milwaukee Bucks, they get Damian Lillard. They're pairing arguably two top 10 players in the entire league together on the same team, Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anytime you do that, you have high hopes to win a championship. A lot of people are questioning whether it's going to work out or not, because these are two superstar players. Anytime two superstar players get on a team together, they kind of have to adapt to each other. And in this case, Giannis and Dame have never really had another superstar on their team. They've had great talent. Giannis has had Middleton and Drew Holiday, and Dame has had CJ McCollum and even LaMarcus Aldridge in his early career, but it's never really been another top 10 player on their team. I think that's going to be the biggest test for the Bucks. Defensively, it's going to hurt them losing Drew Holiday, but Damian Lillard is such an impact player that I don't think they're going to feel that as much. I think it might take some time for Damian Lillard and Giannis to get used to playing together, but I think the potential of their play styles meshing together is so high that they could win multiple championships together. The biggest question for them is if they're ever able to mesh together, if they're going to be able to find that mesh between play styles. And of course, we can't forget about the media, the headlines, and the emotions of a long season. If the Bucks start off struggling and Giannis and Dame are having trouble meshing their play styles together, because they have so much hype going into the season, the headlines are going to be out, the emotions are going to be running, and that can make and break a team and cause a lot of adversity. Damian Lillard is nothing like Drew Holiday. Damian Lillard is not the most outspoken guy, but he's pretty expressive. He's going to tell you how he feels, and he's a leader. Giannis is also a leader. He's won a championship. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two mesh together. That being said, I think Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo are two players who will both accept other players, but they've never had to accept another superstar on their team and had to take a back seat to that player. So I think the biggest problem for Milwaukee isn't talent, because in my opinion, I think they have more talent than the Boston Celtics, but I think their biggest problem is finding that mesh between two superstars. Looking at the Celtics bench, this gives Peyton Pritchard a bigger role for the team, a role that he was really vocalizing and wanting last season, and it was an opportunity that he never got. It even got so far that he requested a trade from the team, or was wanting to request a trade from the team, and it never happened. But now, because they traded Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart away, is going to give him a bigger role. So it's going to be interesting to see how Peyton Pritchard is going to play this season. In my opinion, I think he's a pretty solid player, but he's definitely going to have to take on a bigger role, along with some of the other Celtics players that didn't get that much playing time last season. And I think the pressure of playing in Boston and the history of that franchise, the hype that they are getting this year with some of the names they have on their team, is going to be a big test to these players. It's kind of a make or break for them. And I think that's another adversity that the Celtics are going to face this season. That being said, they're going to have Al Horford on the bench still, and I don't know how that's going to play out because he has been a starter for this team and he has had a very big role for this team, and at time has been very vocal about his confidence for this team. So maybe this could hurt his ego coming off the bench, maybe not getting as much playing time because of Porzingis in there. But I think the departure of Robert Williams is going to give him tons of more minutes, and I don't think that's going to be too big of a problem. This is going to also create more opportunity for a rookie for the Boston Celtics and Jordan Walsh. And in the summer league, he looked very solid. He looks like a player that could fit for the Boston Celtics. He's got that tough-minded philosophy when it comes to the game, and I think he could be a new fan favorite with the departure of Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. More than anything, I think the support of Celtics fans is going to really help make or break this season, because Celtics fans might be frustrated watching some of these new players because Porzingis is not Robert Williams, and as good as Jrue Holiday is, he's not the same type of energy that Marcus Smart brings. So this is going to be a different team, and it's going to be whether or not the Celtics accept them. And I think, again, like I said earlier, how Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum step up to be a leader. Today is media day, so I'm just kind of reading everything out that I see. I'm very excited for this season. We haven't even talked about the Phoenix Suns, and I know I've been very vocal about them not having a point guard, but I also think that they're going to be very good because they just got tons of scoring on their roster. We got the new look Blazers with Ayton going there and now being vocal about how he's going to have a breakout season with the new rookie Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharp's going to have more minutes to shine. It's going to be a crazy season. It's going to be a fun season. So let me know your guys' thoughts and predictions on this season down below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy this video, remember to hit the like button because I know it's easy to forget. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because about 80% of you guys haven't. But I do want to thank the 20% of people who are subscribed to my channel and the 80% of the people even watching this video right now. I hope every single one of you guys gets blessed in life. I hope every single one of you guys finds love and peace. This is ZTAY. Peace.